Hi everybody, welcome back. It's been a while, hasn't it? About 6 months since my last update, but I've had some sustained family health problems and the allotment's taken a little bit of a back seat, but I won't dwell on that. It's a new season, a new start, and I thought I'd give you a quick look around the plot before people are up and about. It's Easter Sunday, it's 7:30, it's an early start for me, but there's no better time than the first thing in the morning, so we'll have a quick look round. Well, good morning everyone, thank you for calling by. I thought I'd just give you a couple of panning shots across the allotments from different vantage points so you can get some idea of how things are looking at the moment. As I say, over the winter the allotment's taken a little bit of a back seat, mainly in terms of growing, really, because I've not really been growing very much in the greenhouses over winter. But what little time we've had, my cousin and I, we've used to replan the plots a little bit, take out a few fences, extend a few paths to make the whole site a little bit more accessible and easier to manage. And for anybody that's visiting for the first time, I'll tell you a little bit about the plots. This is our 7th year of growing down here. We're based up in West Yorkshire near Pontefract, and we've actually got 4 plots. And the first plot, as you can see here, is no dig, lawned in large part with 7 or 8 nice beds, and these were made as lasagna beds, so there's no digging in these. The next plot with the 4 large beds, that is a dug plot, and that's the only part of the site now that's still dug. And we put our potatoes, main crop potatoes and root crops in here, so we tend to turn 3 of the beds each year. Beyond that, we've the 3rd plot, which is devoted to flowers, and also 3 large beds, long beds that you can just see there. And then the bottom allotment is a slightly different shaped plot. It's longer, it's about 143 feet long and about 30 feet wide. And we've got an orchard on there with about 10 trees, a greenhouse and about half a dozen beds or so. Everything's ready to go now. I've started planting some things out. All the beds have been manured. The beds that need to be dug have been dug, to the extent that they need to be at this time of the year anyway. We've got 4 greenhouses on the site. 3 of them have been cleaned out and organised. I've still got 1 to tidy up a little bit. But we're looking down across the site, down to the hawthorn trees at the bottom. And as you can see, it's all neat and tidy. And as I say, ready to go. I'm stood at the gate to the 2nd plot now, and this is the original allotment that we took on. And as you can see, we've got a strict 4-bed rotation here, and this is the 7th season that we've been down here. The boundary fence between the 2nd and 3rd plot has been taken out, and that used to have raspberries all the way across, but there was an old pallet fence dividing the 2 plots, and it was matted with weeds and nettles, and it was a constant battle trying to stay on top of it. So we've taken that fence out and we've extended the paths and the beds that were on the 3rd plot, so that we can now walk down through the bottom 3 plots, and it's accessible with a wheelbarrow as well, so we don't have to go right up to the shed as we used to have to, just to get onto the next plot. One of the other things that we've done over winter is replace and repair a lot of the paths. This used to be a smaller, more insubstantial flagged path with, I think there were 15-inch tiles, but they're only about 3 centimetres thick. And these are the heavy duty 3 by 2 feet concrete slabs. It's much nicer now to walk around the site because most of the main paths are 3 by 2s like this, or 2 by 2s, but the heavy duty paths. So much more enjoyable all year round now to navigate the plots. At the start of the third plot now, and you can see where we took the fence out from the other side and how we've extended the beds. The beds now are about 25 feet in length and about 9 feet in width. All covered, ready with manure. We've got a couple of twin rows of broad beans just here on the left, and we've sited a couple of compost bins on the edges of the 2 beds there. And I plan to put some dwarf sunflower plants at the edge of those beds, just to delineate the 2 plots. No flowers in the flower bed yet. That's the big long bed in front of me, excuse me, which is about 40 feet long and about 15 feet wide. Over on the right there we've got the long thin plot, and I'll give you a view from the bottom corner and you'll get a better idea of this. I'm standing on the lane that runs down the front of all 4 plots, so you get a better perspective of this long 4th plot. It's about 145 feet long, probably 40 metres or so, or thereabouts, maybe 45 metres. And you can see that we've flagged the paths all the way up from bottom up to the top. The 2 beds that we've got here in front of us, 2 13 foot by 5 foot beds, we've slabbed around those as well, so that's all nice and neat now. We've got our second early potatoes in these 2 beds, and they were planted simply with a trowel, so they're not mounded, and the birds have been having a bath in it as well, and there might have been an odd rabbit digging. But as you can see, it's a nice long plot. The job for the coming autumn and probably into next year is to replace this boundary fence. It's not strictly our fence, but you can see how neglected the adjacent plot is, and we're going to have to take it upon ourselves, I think, to replace that. So there's about a 45 metre run of fencing to be replaced there. The fencing up the front of all 4 plots is a little bit dilapidated as well, so that'll probably be for the next year. So we've probably got about 100 metres of fencing to replace, so it's quite a task. But for the time being, we're just growing now this year. There'll be no more maintenance really. A few little things perhaps, a few patio areas to lay, but beyond that it'll just be sowing and growing. I'm looking back from the first plot now across the second plot diagonally, and you can see that we've got a few things planted out. We've got in this bed in front of us, where you can see it's largely manured still, we've got some flat peas, some monge too that is, and some standard peas, and I did film sowing those, so I might show you that next. Beyond this bed we've got 6 rows of parsnips, some shallots, and the first batch of onions that were delivered. They're the Caravel Pink that I've shown in previous updates. And then on the bed diagonally opposite us in the distance there, we've got the overwintering shallots and onions. Well, here I am again, about to sow the peas for the 7th year in a row down on the plot, and I'm sat at the foot of the legume bed, and I've got 3 varieties of pea this year. 2 are Monge 2 and 1 is a standard pea, and I just thought I'd show you how I do it. I do a flat bedded drill, and I've gone down, as you can see, about 4 or 5 centimetres, and the drill is about 13 or 14 inch wide, and all I do is I just scatter the peas copiously across the drill and then cover them up with the soil that's been mounded at the side of the drill. I have grown them in guttering in the past, but I found that they were a little bit tender when they went out, and if that coincided with poor weather, then they were knocked back a little bit. So I do them this way now, and they always seem to be quite sturdy when they come through. And as soon as they come through, then I get them covered up with netting and hoops. I'll show you the peas. And these are our peas for this season. We've got 3 varieties. There are 2 varieties of Monge 2 and one of the standard pea. The standard pea is Jaguar, and the Monge 2 are called Shiraz, that's a purple one, and Karoubi de Marsan. Bought them again from Mole Seeds, as I have done in previous seasons. They're quite large bags and they're quite expensive, I guess, varying between about £8 and £10 a packet. But if you look at the 500 gram packet of Jaguar, there are probably 20 times as many peas in this packet as there would be in a standard packet from the garden centre. So they're probably about a third of the price in real terms. And there'll be enough here to do maybe 5 or 6 flat bottom drills like the one I've just shown you this year, and then probably enough to do the same next year. So they're a really good buy. As you can see, I've just done a half drill of one variety of flat pea and a half drill of the other. We've got the Karoubi de Marsan in the first half here. That's quite a tall pea, grows to about 5 or 6 feet, so I will be putting some canes in and making a long teepee on this side. And the Shiraz, as I mentioned earlier, this is a black or a purpley Monge 2, and if we look back at the bags, you can see they're still nearly full, so there'll be enough to do maybe another 2 half drills of each variety of these peas here, and probably enough for next year as well. So I'm just going to get this raked over now with the back of the rake, and then that's the peas done. I'll give them a watering as well, obviously, but then they should start coming through within a couple of weeks. The main crop potatoes are in as well. We've got 9 substantial rows here with about 10 seed potatoes in each row, and I think the 3 varieties we've got here are King Edward, Picasso and Desiree. We've also got some second earlies in pots inside the greenhouse here. And this greenhouse is a little bit of a storage area at the moment. We've got the compost that we need for this greenhouse in here, along with some 6X chicken manure and fish blood and bone down here in the corner. And you can see that the potatoes are just starting to come through. So we've 11 pots, and they're the first 2. And I think they're about 6 pots of Charlotte and 5 pots of Kestrel. So these will be the ones that we eat first. I'll show you the top half of the 4th plot and the working greenhouse now. We're at the top of the long thin plot, the 4th plot, and as you can see it's all nice and tidy now. We've got 3 beds here at the back of the greenhouse, 2 that are just manured at the moment. We've got the overwintering elephant garlic in the bed just in front of us with the hoops, and we've actually got another bed of potatoes. I think they're Pentland Javelin in this bed. That's a 13 by 5 bed just to the left of the greenhouse. We've got black plastic down the side of all the paths that we laid at the end of last year, and they've been covered with manure. We had hoped to cover it with wood chip, but we weren't able to get the quantity that we required, but we did have access to lots of manure. And at the back of me we've got about 6 or 7 gooseberry bushes and 3 blackcurrant bushes. This has been covered with black plastic as well and covered with wood chip, and this is going to be caged up with sight fencing. We've got 2 sections of fencing at the back, but we need another 3 or 4, and then we'll get it netted over the top just to keep those pesky birds out. looking inside the 16 by 8 greenhouse, you can see I've put my main crop onions in here. We've got some red fen, red onions, some early fen and some rumba. The supply that we normally use, Garden Organic online, weren't able to supply the ones that we use traditionally. We were a little bit late ordering, to be honest. So I think I got these from Marshall Seeds, but they were late to arrive. So they've been put in modules so that they can grow on, develop some tops and a good root system before they're planted out. And again, I've got the compost that I need for this greenhouse here, along with a few trays and a little bit of rubbish. And up in the back section, we've got the cucumbers, which have to be pricked out and potted on. And these were sown in the greenhouse and just left to come in their own time. And I didn't think we'd have very many. I thought I'd have about 3 or 4, but I've got about, I don't know, about 15 now. Far too many. A few radish sown in a pot, and down here we've got some spring onions on the right and some spinach. I think that's red kitten that's just come through. It's not all germinated, but it'll stay in that tray, watering tray, and we'll just use that as a cut and come again spinach or leaf. We'll just take a quick look at the working greenhouse where we do all of the sowing, and you can see to the side here on the little table I've got all of my seed packets, and I'm getting there gradually, but we're still a little bit behind. We've been slow to get the brassicas started this year, but we do have some things on the move. At the right of the table here we've got some beetroot, we've got Burpees Golden and the traditional Bolt Hardy up at the back. We've got some pak choy and tatsoi here to use as cut and come again leaf. The usual mole seeds, mixed green and red cut and come again lettuce leaf here. Then over in the corner some mixed oriental leaf. Purple top Milan turnip. The first batch of brassicas, we've got some broccoli, and this is the variety Covina. A few Primo 2 at the side. They're a quick growing, solid round cabbage. Got some sprouts sown the other day. Some more broccoli, some Iron Man. We've got some Savoy, we've got January King and Traviata, and we've got a few multi-sown swede at the back there as well. Over here we've got some more Primo 2 and some early purple sprouting broccoli for next spring. And then over on the left we've got the tomatoes, and if I just lift the bubble wrap up you can see they're all doing nicely. They were pricked out and potted into these 5-inch pots about a week ago. Mixture as normal of beefsteak and cherries. I do like the black beefsteak, the heritage varieties like not Brandy Boy, like Cherokee Purple, Paul Robeson, Black Russian, those kind of varieties. We have about 66, and as I say, they're tucked away nicely under the bubble wrap. We are expecting a little bit of cold weather over the next few days, so that's just about it. Just looking outside, you can see that the rhubarb is going great guns again. It always does. 2 varieties, as I've said in previous seasons. The Polton Pride, really robust variety at the back, about half a dozen of those plants, and then a champagne variety at the front, 3 of those. That's really sweet, the champagne variety. Broad beans up under the cloches there. Flower bed, still not really kick-started yet. I've still got about a quarter of the bed to cover with manure, But Ron, my cousin, he's got the dahlias in his greenhouse and is nurturing the dahlia plants. Strawberries, well, they're all alive. They've made it through the winter. So that's about it for this update. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's not been too tedious. It's just been a look around the site really, no more than that. And hopefully I'll be able to bring you some more updates, and we'll see the plants sown, pricked out, potted out, planted, and hopefully it'll be a good season. Anyway, thanks for calling by and for viewing, much appreciated, and take care until the next time.